Acts 2. And when the day of the festival of weeks had come, they were all with one mind in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from the heaven, as of a mighty rushing wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them divided tongues, as of fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were all filled with the set-apart Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave to them to speak. Now in Jerusalem there were dwelling Yehudim, dedicated men from every nation under the heaven. And when this sound came to be, the crowd came together, and were confused, because everyone heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying to each other, Look, are not all these who speak Galileans? And how do we hear, each one in our own language, in which we were born? Parthian, and Medes, and Elamites, and those dwelling in Aram Naharaim, both Yehuda and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, both Phrygia and Pamphylia, Mitzrayim, and the parts of Libya around Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Yehudim and converts, Cretans and Arabs, we hear them speaking in our own tongues the great deeds of Elohim. And they were all amazed, and were puzzled, saying to each other, What does this mean? And others, mocking, said, They have been filled with sweet wine. But Kepha, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said to them, Men of Yehuda, and all those dwelling in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and listen closely to my words. For these men are not drunk, as you imagine, since it is only the 3rd hour of the day. But this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel. And it shall be in the last days, says Elohim, that I shall pour out of my Spirit on all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And also on my male servants and on my female servants I shall pour out my Spirit in those days, and they shall prophesy. And I shall show wonders in the heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and splendid day of Jehovah. And it shall be that everyone who calls on the name of Jehovah shall be saved. Men of Israel, hear these words. Yeshua of Nazareth, a man of Elohim, having been pointed out to you by mighty works and wonders and signs, which Elohim did through him in your midst, as you yourself also know. This one, given up by the set purpose and foreknowledge of Elohim, you have impaled and put to death through the hands of lawless men. Him Elohim raised up, having loosed the pangs of death, because it was impossible that he could be held in its grip. For David says concerning him, I saw Jehovah before me continually, because he is at my right hand, in order that I should not be shaken. For this reason my heart rejoiced, and my tongue was glad. And now my flesh shall also rest in expectation, because you shall not leave my being in the grave, nor shall you give your kind one to see corruption. You have made known to me the ways of life. You shall fill me with joy in your presence. Men and brothers, let me speak boldly to you of the ancestor David, that he died and was buried, and his tomb is with us to this day. Being a prophet then, and knowing that Elohim had sworn with an oath to him, of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, to raise up the Messiah to sit on his throne. Foreseeing this, he spoke concerning the resurrection of the Messiah, that his being was neither left in the grave, nor did his flesh see corruption. Elohim has raised up this Yeshua, of which we were all witnesses. Therefore, having been exalted to the right hand of Elohim, and having received from the Father the promise of the set-apart Spirit, he poured out this which you now see and hear. For David did not ascend into the heavens, but he himself said, Jehovah said to my master, sit at my right hand, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. Therefore, let all the house of Israel know for certain that Elohim has made this Yeshua, whom you impaled, both Master and Messiah. And having heard this, they were pierced to the heart, and said to Kepha and the rest of the emissaries, Men, brothers, what shall we do? And Kepha said to them, Repent, and let each one of you be immersed in the name of Yeshua Messiah for the forgiveness of sins, and you shall receive the gift of the set-apart Spirit. For the promise is to you and to your children, and to all who are far off, as many as Jehovah our Elohim shall call. And with many other words he earnestly witnessed and urged them, saying, Be saved from this crooked generation. Then those indeed who gladly received his word were immersed, and on that day about 3,000 beings were added to them. And they were continuing steadfastly in the teaching of the emissaries, and in the fellowship, and in the breaking of bread, and in the prayers. And fear came upon every being, and many wonders and signs were being done through the emissaries. And all those who believed were together, and had all in common, and sold their possessions and property, and divided them among all, as anyone might have need. And day by day, continuing with one mind in the set-apart place, and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising Elohim and having favor with all the people. And the Master added to the assembly those who were being saved day by day.